Dat is het. Claim to fame.
Welcome everybody. We have all come together today for one reason, and that is to celebrate Luc.
Very good.
At one point in time, his generosity and his open arms extended to all of us and to the world, and it drew us in, and at other times created more space between us, like a fluffy cloud doing this. I would like to read to you one of Luc's poems, which is called Pebble. Long life, little karma. A small piece of creation, just a formless stone. No obstruction to the ways of the world. A nameless trail through time and this space, only known to the one. I travel, loose and light, mostly unseen. Throw me in the ocean of your darkest mind, and I will wash ashore in a new shade. My destiny and my longing is to trip you in awareness. But you can also stumble on to serve some more. You are welcome, either way. As we all may know, or maybe not, but fire is Luc, and a big part of Luc's life. And with that, we would like to open the evening tonight with a fire ritual in lighting the candles, and I would like to invite Ben to do that.
This Jewish
If you are Jewish or not Jewish, you should cover your heads and stand if you're going to be in the presence of a Jewish prayer.
Is that so?
But I think the essence is also that it's a light that it's a festival of the lights in the winter. But there is a story that when the land of Israel was occupied by the Syrians 200 years for Christ, then at a certain time there was a civil war. The Jews fought back and got back the temple, and then they wanted to light the candles, and they did it with oil. What I want to say, there is a wonder connected with it in the story, because they wanted to light the candles, and there was in the temple there was only oil for one day. And what was the miracle? That this oil for one day lasted for the 8 candles of the whole week. So that's attached. That story is attached to this feast festival. I just now will light the candles with the prayers with it. I will first. There are 2 prayers. I have not translation with it, and this first I will say 2 prayers in Hebrew, and then I will also have a translation. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Here I have not a translation of, so I can only say this prayer means that we are so glad that we are here this year to do this festival healthy, and that we hope that next year we also can do this. That's the translation of this prayer. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahat likner shel Chanukah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asa nisim. Dit I will sing. Wait. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asa nisim la'avoteinu bayamim hahem. Hazeman hazee.
Amen.
Then this first candle is only the candle with which you light the other candles. This is called the helper or something. Or so. So now I will say the translation of the last prayer. I have to say when I have lit the candles, and I say this in Dutch because it's too difficult for me to translate it on the spot. Deze lichten ontsteken wij ter herinnering aan de hulp die gij ons verleend hebt, om de wonderen en de wondere gebeurtenissen die gij voor onze voorouders hebt doen plaatsvinden door middel van uw heilige priesters. Alle 8 dagen van Chanukka zijn deze lichten heilig. Wij mogen van deze geen ander gebruik maken dan alleen om ernaar te kijken en uw naam daarmee lof te brengen, om de wonderbare gebeurtenissen en uw wonderen en om uw hulp. En dan is er een bepaald lied wat iedere Jood associeert met Chanukka. Dat wordt hierna gezongen. Daar zing ik even alleen het eerste refrein van. En de vertaling is daarvan zoiets als hier. Beurt en rots mijn hulp, u paste te bezingen. Aanvaard mijn loflied, Heer. Ik verheug mij alleen in u, die het altaar eens ontwijde, hebt gij met kracht verdreven. En ik met heel mijn hart vertrouw alleen op u. En dat is het volgende lied. Ma ostur Yeshuati lechana ele shabeya kabal na tehilati lecha ani sameya lecha lele masbeya haita mashleya ve ani kolibi rak beraboteya.
We've been slapping with stuff all week, but okay. As you realize, Myster is in a build-up phase, so this is the first time we have so many people sleeping here and eating here, and the next opportunity will be Christmas, but the idea is that this would be a place where these kind of things can happen for families or groups. Anyway, we have a whole program tonight, and I am to start. Can I have a copy of the book?
No,
Yes.
I don't have
No.
a copy.
Oh, you don't, of course.
No.
No. Okay, anyway, I've written a book. I've written a book about 60 years of existence.
Do you want me to get one?
No, you will get a copy at the end.
The draft of which we saw on the website.
What the?
The draft of which we saw on the website.
Yeah,
Yes.
most of you have seen the draft. So what I've written in that book is like, not my memoirs, it is like a status quo report on where I stand, what I think, what my ideas are, and some of those ideas are really strange. And you're going to read the book, but I want to give you a little bit of taste of what I really do. My trick or my shtick. Did you say Yiddish? Yes,
Yiddish.
what I do. Yiddish, yeah. My shtick is using a pendulum. That's interesting. But now I can do this for all of you, but I thought I will do it on the table. Each of you has a menu. On the back you'll find, don't fill it in yet, food for thought. I'm going to talk about a little chapter in the book which is about food. So my notion about food is that it is more than the stuff you take into your mouth. It's the energy that you take in. Food is much more. And what I asked you there is for yourself, and not for tonight, but on general, to write down what do you think these qualities are of the food you take in. That's to say, not on the food, but the way you take it in. And you see there is the quality of the ingredients, you know what you buy, that the cooking, the environment, which includes sound, lights, whatever. The timing of eating, which includes, are you a good chewer, do you eat very fast, but also, do you eat like one day at 2 o'clock, the other day at 5 o'clock, the other day at 9 o'clock, you know. Do you have a regular schedule, and how important is it for you? And then, the overall effectiveness of your food. Because what I found out is that, especially in the United States, you meet many people that eat so-called very, very healthy. They spend a lot of money on food. They go to the best health food stores, and then I look at them and I take my pendulum and I say, does it work? You go for 95% quality in your food intake, but for some reason it doesn't work. Because the end effect is that you not use the energy. So they're too thick or too fat or whatever. So food is a combination of the ingredients, the way it's made, how it's made, where it comes from, the sound, the noise, the people you're with, stuff like that. Now the trick is that you fill it in, and after the first course I will spend a few minutes. Well, actually, no, I will not. After the first course, I will give you the list and explain a little bit more, because what I've done, I have answered those questions for you. But the test is here. You write down what you think on a scale of 0 to 100, like what the quality of the food is you eat, and you understand that a guy who spends a fortune on health food might probably say 100. If you eat at McDonald's all the time, well, McDonald's, any company that does fast food, you could say it's 10 or 20. Yeah? And for the other things too, you know how strict you are with your time. Yeah? But I will tell you at the end 2 things. First, what you need. And secondly, what the quality is what you do. Now, to take myself as an example, what I eat doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. I can eat, I wouldn't say shit, but I can eat everything. Because for me, the quality of the food is not important. For me, all that matters is the people I'm with. If I'm with nice company, the stuff digests and I have no problems and nothing. If I'm not in good company, I might get, and I've actually had a serious situation with rheumatism because of food. But it's so, for me, the quality of the food is absolutely not important. But that is not for everybody. There are people for whom the quality of the food is all important. And there are other people who say, no, it's the cook that makes it. And you realize, the guy who makes your food and the way it's prepared makes a difference. That's why great cooks. So, just to get you started on the first course and on talking about the quality of food, I wish you all a very good digestion, a good overall digestion of all this food and great company. And at the end of the first course, I will pass along these things and explain a little bit what these numbers mean. Yeah? I already have done for all of you what it means, except for you. And except for Luc there, because I haven't seen you. You see, I cannot do it. Yeah?
And before we start eating, would everybody please fill up their glasses?
Take the bottle.
And when your glass is filled, maybe raise this.
Is this the 92 Chablis? 62. Is this the 62? 1962 Chablis? Well,
maybe raise this to Luc, and on 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Luc. Happy birthday. It's very good. It's the first one. Try it again.
Try it, test.
Test.
No.
Test.
Yeah?
Test.
Yes.
There she is. Dear Luc, since 2.5 years, approximately, we are traveling, living, and working together. For me, that was an experience of pleasure, learning, and extending borders in order to develop the awareness of who I am in relation to the things you stand for and brought into my life. It also meant finding out what we stand for. It brought happiness, friendship, but also a lot of action and sometimes fighting. As letting go of conviction of how a relationship between lovers should be sometimes is a hard thing to do. Being lovers also means showing each other the shadows of oneself. And when you are able to stay in the acceptance of what I do or say, instead of reacting defensive, you have this great quality of being silent. It's not the silence of neglecting the other, but the silence of the full presence in the love that you feel for me. I decided to sing a song for you. It's a song called When You Say Nothing at All, from the film Notting Hill, as I understood. Ashma Bodhi and Iris are going to join me with music and voice, for which I thank them very much. It was a pleasure practicing together to enable me to sing this song for you tonight. I hope my voice will hold, as I never did this before.
It's amazing how you can speak right to my heart. Without saying a word, you can light up the dark. Try as I may, I can never explain what I hear when you don't say a thing. The smile on your face lets me know that you need me. There's a truth in your eyes saying you'll never leave me. The touch of your hand says you'll catch me wherever I fall. You say it best when you say nothing at all. All day long I can hear people talking out loud. Only you holding in, you join up the crowd. The crowd. Try as they may, they can never define what's been said between your heart and mine. The smile on your face lets me know that you need me. There's a truth in your eyes saying you'll never leave me. The touch of your hand says you'll catch me wherever I fall. You say it best, when you say nothing at all. You say it best when you say nothing at all.
You say it best when you say nothing at all. You say it best when you say nothing at all.
The smile on your face, the truth in your eyes, the touch of your hands let me know that you need me.
You say it best when you say nothing at all. You say it best when you say nothing at all. You say it best when you say nothing at all.
Bravo!
Prepared a song or but Thomas, Kathleen and I just wanted to say just a few words because well, it's your 60th birthday and we've been a part of your time travel for 35 years, 33 years and 30 years and in that time you took us basically all over the world. You brought Thomas to Tibet. You brought me to Nepal, you brought Kathleen to America and all other countries in between. And the best talks we had with you were always on, well, on these travels. So we had to thought up for a good present for your birthday. So what we came up with is to create a place where well, where we basically can have a chat later on in life and we are a bit more quiet and resty. So we bought you something for under your tree. So we bought you just a few benches so that later on you can talk, play with us, play with your grandchildren, which are also Isabel and Lotte, and that's it, and happy birthday. Which is, I think, something Kathleen wants to say, but she doesn't want to. Kathleen said, if we're going to do something, there's one of Luc's poems, which, well, you wrote for us, I guess, probably 20 or 30 years ago. And there's one sentence here, and Kathleen put it in my iPhone.
Well, actually we wanted to put it on the bench, but too little time, too much to do. We had to do the magazine, the book and everything this week, so there was no more time. But it was...
Well, while you are talking, please say the magic.
Well, it's in Dutch, but we'll translate it. And it said you wrote, if I translate it well, God gave me 3 watchdogs. Without them, I wouldn't have heard him knock. Forgive me my translation, but that's basically what it boils down to, right?
And we say the rest of the poem probably in 35, 40 years on a different occasion. But,
we'll come by this summer and put it in the bench.
Welcome, dogs.
Watchdog.
He started filling up his balls. Luc asked me this afternoon to do something on silence, and I was kind of surprised. Luc was like, on silence, my God, what does he want to do? But he explained to me that in every moment of life, and in mine it's every day, I try every day to have a moment of silence by a little moment of meditation. Because otherwise the impressions of the day are too overflowing and I cannot digest them very well. So I really need one breath in, one breath out, and to go inside and stay with myself. So, you know, I was thinking, okay, so what can I do? And I decided to read a little prayer. It's not real prayer, but for me it's a prayer. But he also asked me, or to explain to you all, that during the course of the soup, it would be a moment of silence. Now, for many people it's very difficult to just shut up. You know, so they need to talk or be compulsive in it. And with each plate there is a stone. A little stone, if you look around. And so the suggestion is that we do one pause in silence. and be introspective. If we have a need to say anything, you just project your thoughts into the stone and give it to your neighbor or to the person across you. That will be an idea, and the person who sits next kind of takes the present and listens to the stone and see what happens or not. It's only one cause, so don't be disturbed. Okay, this is a prayer. I will introduce the silence bit, and I have to do it sitting because otherwise I cannot hold my book. So, it goes like this. Silence, the awful shadow of some unseen power, floats, though unseen, among us, visiting the various world with as inconstant wing as summer winds that creep from flower to flower, like moonbeams that behind some piney mountain shower it visits with inconstant glance each human heart and countenance, like hues and harmonies of evening, like clouds in starlight widely spread, like memory of music fled, like aught that for its grace may be dear, and yet dearer, dearer for its mystery.
I make real rainbows in the sky. I work with local fire departments to pump water into the air when the sun's in the right position to create an artificial rainfall which refracts the sun's light, and I can create rainbows as big as 2,000 feet across, 600 meters. Luc and I met when I was doing a rainbow for the Hague Appeal for Peace exactly 10 years ago. And so he asked me to present it, and I'm really honored to be able to show you a video of some of my rainbows. It's kind of a collage piece. It happens very quickly. I'll try and tell you where the events are. I have to push play somewhere. I can find the clicker.
You want the first or the second?
I want this one right up here.
The composite. Where's the... Has anybody seen the remote?
This first one was in New Mexico.
Where? Where in New Mexico?
In Silver City, New Mexico. The children get to walk in and enter the rainbow, which is really marvelous. This one I think you'll recognize, Rob Schreiber.
Yeah.
And this was in Potsdam.
Potsdam, yeah, Met Stop.
I work with the balloon company there.
On the bridge. Yeah. I was there.
Salt Lake City. Santa Fe.
There's people that have presents for me, and I'd love to have them in a moment. But first, I'm going to do my present to you, which is a book that some of you have seen on the internet in about 11 releases, yeah? Because it changed and it got, and I must say, there are Freudian things to happen. So I'll read you the first line. Some people know. And you see, my English is not that good. So, December 13, 2009 marks my 60th birthday. Time to assess. Evaluate, look back and make plans. I missed one S. Everybody gets a book, so if you want something written in it, come to me and later. And now, there are people with presents, so I'm sitting here.
Okay.
Stay up. Let's make a circle.
We just kick off.
I know this is taking a lot of flexibility, There's a mantra, it's very simple, but if we just kind of circle around a little bit, it just is to say gratitude, thank you, bliss, okay? Dankjewel, Luc Sala. So it's in Sanskrit, it's Dhanyavad, Ananda. So let's just grab on. We should all
Yeah, I can continue with the final song because I was asked to finish it in the same way as it started. So I was thinking it over, a Jewish tradition, and we do it together in a song, a Jewish song. Well, it is actually Yiddish, and it is because a few times I had the opportunity to have a very deep talk with our master on life. And once I went home and my wife, she is Jewish, I told her he missed his vocation. He could have been a rabbi, a real rabbi. You don't know that face of him, I know that face of him. So we sing the song of a rabbi, and I give you a first taste of it. I can do it without microphone too, then we sing better together. I do it like this. It is like this. It is Yiddish, hè? So I sing a song and you repeat. For example, if the rabbit sings la la,
if the rabbit sings la la,
dan lachen ja alle gezichten. I guess we have it. If the rabbit whined,
if the rabbit whined,
ja alle geziente. If the rabbit sings la la,
If the rabbit sings la la,
dan zingen ja alle gezichten la 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 la
This is Luc op 27/7, a grand cross in a very chaotic and active situation in the world, yes?
I'm going to go back to your chart. Your chart has Mercury opposed Uranus in your chart.
Yep.
Uranus is the higher octave of Mercury. Mercury is thinking and thoughts and ideas. Uranus is ultra thinking, original thoughts, revolutionary ideas. Okay, so
but they're opposites. That means
they're in awareness to each other.
Listen,
it just creates awareness.
In Luke's chart has Leo on the ascendant. On this chart it isn't.
No, I know. We're not doing his real chart. We're just doing the planets in the positions. We can't calculate his real chart. But it's okay. We're not using houses. Since we're not using houses, we're just going to talk about aspects. And we'll eliminate houses. Okay, so the main point I'm making here is that this opposition, which is the only opposition in his entire chart, which is literally the awareness and relationship energy he has to, people in his life that are close, and in fact the whole world, that opposition is being triggered by Pluto. Pluto is exactly on top of his Mercury and exactly opposing his Uranus. Okay,
which means power, or
which means Pluto is transforming. There is a really, really, really fundamental, transformational, concentration, piercing energy going on in his awareness and stimulating his thinking outside of the box, originality, inventive thinking. Okay? It's also triggering his energy of groups brought together for a common cause or purpose, which is what he's taking action on more than at any other time in his life, given his plans for this location, the new home base, the new foundation. Okay? Now, what's interesting is that Pluto is part of a T-square in the sky, but because his Uranus is there, it makes it a grand cross. And so all this energy that is massive, massive, big energy of change and challenge and transformation and bringing out truth for the world is tapped totally into Luke. And it's his Mercury. So what does the Mercury part of the chart do? Mercury is the mouthpiece. It's the point where you speak from. Okay? So it's literally saying that he is ultimately going to be privy to a lot of interesting inside information, of which he will be one of the disseminators or transmission points of this information. All right. Okay, you're welcome. Because it's focused right through him. I mean, of course, he is not the only one. But in terms of picking one who's got it really big time, that's pretty damn big. Look at the points. It's 144 points.
What does that mean?
That's the volume of energy. 144 in this scale is very, very high. And that's on the action energy. Here, it's on the business and self-actualization energy, almost as high, maybe 135. It's a staggering volume. Well, it's a great question to ask if it's positive, but in this case, it's always better to have energy than to not have energy, even if it's difficult energy. Okay, so, okay, you're welcome. Okay, well, you're very welcome.
Thank you very much.
Okay, enjoy. So in this case, the red energy is saying it's action energy, and maybe pressure, but it's not bad inherently. All it is bad is to the extent that one feels uncomfortable, because ultimately the action energy, look at Luke. Luke's an action person. How bad can action energy be for an action person? So really it's like, hey, finally, it's been a little boring for the last couple of years. Now it's action mode. Let's go out and do something, you know. But not only that, but we have to do it.
Yeah.
So, you know, from that level, it's actually good. But is it maybe dangerous? Sure, yeah. That might be fun too.
Yeah, but action always has danger.
Well, yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. So when you ask the question, is it good or bad? My answer is, it's better to have energy than to not have energy. And here we have energy. Another great one, a really big one, is that he's got Jupiter. Remember, he's a Sagittarius. He's ruled by Jupiter. Look at Jupiter over here. It's Jupiter-Uranus squaring his Mercury. He's got his natal Jupiter-Venus, and the Sun is in the classic position of triggering his Jupiter-Venus. This is one of the most powerful and positive parts of his entire chart. And he's got the Sun opposing his Jupiter-Venus, which means there is a great deal of support and luck that he has in the midst of all this potentially dangerous and high action energy. Okay? This is giving him a lot of really positive good luck at the same time, which is fantastic. And it also says that
it makes it positive.
It makes it a lot more positive. It absolutely makes it a lot more positive. But it's also saying, because Jupiter is the energy of transmission from one to many, and that's the whole principle of Sagittarius, transmission of information from one to many, it's saying that this point in time is a point where that his, again, the ability or role of being a vehicle through which the transmission of this information from one to many is occurring is literally, again, another sign that it's occurring through him. Okay? And that doesn't mean to 20 million people all over the world. All it means is that it's happening, and it's happening to the people in his network, and very possibly many thousands or hundreds of thousands or even millions of people that aren't in his direct network. It's saying that he's got a magnified voice, and he's somehow really tapped in to, you know, the main thrust or the main core information that is in play at this time. Anyway, so that's pretty surprising to see it that strong. His chart on one of the biggest days of the whole year.
What strikes me also is that, I said so, that my moon is on 3 Aquarius.
Your moon is right here next to his Jupiter.
Chiron, and the opposite, where the Sun comes in this chart, is my Jupiter.
Really? Okay, so you have the moon opposed Jupiter.
Yes.
And so, do you know what degree it is?
4 and 3.
Okay, well guess where the Sun is on the 27th? It's at about 4 degrees.
Mm-hmm.
So that means that this opposition, that means that the Sun is directly triggering at the same time your opposition, which is fantastic, because this opposition is Jupiter and Uranus is about 3 degrees as well, trining your Sun. Or whatever planet's up there. I'm sorry, I don't know what planet's up there. Chiron and the moon or something?
Chiron and the moon on one side, and Jupiter.
Okay,
and
okay, your Jupiter's in Leo, right? Is that what you're saying? Your Jupiter's in Leo?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're having a Jupiter-Uranus trine Jupiter and a Jupiter-Uranus sextile moon Chiron. Okay, so that says that that part of your chart, a major opposition in your chart, is receiving the biggest amount of energy of this opposition in a mystic rectangle, which is a fantastic...
But it could support perhaps...
Well, it does support him.
Yeah.
It does. I mean, you know, you guys operating in concert together, etc. This part is clearly triggering that. But the more important part, honestly, is this, because this is the big energy for the whole year, and your chart is tapping into it with another opposition pair, which is making double sextiles, double trines, and, you know, as a result of these 2 pairs of oppositions. And that's called a mystic rectangle. You've got a mystic rectangle on that day, he's got a grand cross. And I mean, you actually have it more than just on that day. It's just that on this day, that Mr. Rectangle is triggered even more because the sun is there on top of your Jupiter, which really, really opens it up. Right, exactly.
I thought you said 29th of July was important also.
Well, I mean, it's true. It's absolutely true that I had said the 29th, and I actually said also that it's the last week of July, and I also said it's the 27th, 28th, 29th of July, because the thing I'm trying to point out is that it's a phase. So why did I pick the 27th for this discussion? Because the moon was lined up in a stronger position on that day. Now, if we wanted to, you know, just for the sake of understanding what I'm doing here, if we want to move ahead a few days, well, there's the 29th. Basically, Mars got a little bit closer. Oh, I see. That's his natal moon there.
Yes,
that's Luke's natal moon blasting into this giant... Oh my gosh.
Yeah, he has his moon also in 3 degrees Libra.
And down here, this was the transiting moon. I was just kind of getting mixed up. See...
Excuse me, Mr. Astrology, what's generally supposed to happen next July? Is it some big astrological deal?
It is a big astrological deal, and
I must have missed that part.
But because there are so many planets involved, and there's so many things that it represents change and action upon, we can't say, you know, just like one thing. But what we will say is this. The T-square that is happening on that day,
29th of July.
the 27th, 28th, 29th, 30th, you know, the last week of July and the first week of August. That's
My
easier to
birthday,
think.
29th of July.
Okay, well then in this case, is this going to hit you like a 2x4 across the forehead? You know? Maybe not in a bad way, but it'll get your attention that much because you're right in the middle of it. The expansive, revolutionary, and change and freedom forces of Jupiter-Uranus are in contrast and opposition and in struggle with the selfishness and vested interest resisting change energy of Saturn-Mars, and both of them are squaring Pluto, which both of them are taking action on the issue of transforming for positive, for its truth on the good side, or manipulating and controlling to save their vested interest ass on the other side. And so there is something, ultimately, information that is, as a result of many years of hidden manipulative control, that is basically about to come out.